Hello there, everyone, and welcome to GamePoints episode 280. The weekly little get together. We talk about recent gaming news. I'm, as always, your host, David Brown, and joining me today is.
I'm David.
Tonight, David. More people are leaving Activision Blizzard as the Security and Exchange Commission descends upon them. Quantic Dream might be doing themselves a Star War, and a whole bunch of other tidbits that you might have missed over the past week or so. But I want everyone here to know first that this is a audience interactive podcast. So if you're watching us live here at Twitch TV/GamePoints or later over at YouTube.com/GamePointsPC, feel free to join in the conversation with any questions, comments, concerns, etc. you might have. Just try to keep them germane to the conversation. David, we did miss you last week. We had a whole bunch of stuff dropped that I would have loved to have your input on, but hey, you did have stuff to take care of. Totally understandable. Not a problem. You are back this week, though, so we can get a little bit more in-depth into things.
Indeed.
And this time around, I'm actually the one that played a new game.
Excellent.
I actually played a little bit of Deathloop. Now, I know your opinion on Deathloop. I know that you've just lost interest in it the more they've talked about it, and that's completely understandable. As for my take on Deathloop, however, I streamed a little bit of it, played some of it off stream. I want to enjoy it more than I do. I expect a
there's like something in there that you're like, okay, this should be great, but it's just not quite hitting it for you.
Yeah, so tech issues aside, there are some tech issues on PC. There was some stuttering. I've put it down for the past couple days because I am waiting for them to fix that stuff. Apparently, a lot of the issues that was going on have been fixed, so I'm looking forward to getting back into that maybe this weekend. But that aside, there is just something off about the entire thing. Furthermore, I think I already guessed what the twist is not 2 hours into it.
Classic.
And I'm really annoyed by it if it's true.
Oh, that's funny.
And it's coloring the rest of my opinion of the game as I'm playing through it.
Like, you think you solved it, and it's making you enjoy it less, because if you're right, it's gonna just suck all the fun out.
Yes, because it's a twist that I don't necessarily want to be true, but I think it is. And I just kind of randomly guessed at it as I was playing through it, and then I stopped and went, oh shit, am I right on this? And I've been seeing more and more evidence that backs up that I'm right.
So yeah, maybe they'll pull a fast one on you. Who knows?
I doubt it. I doubt it. I think I'm 100% correct on it. It wasn't like I'm like, oh, I'm God, I figured out the plot. It's just like a guess. I'd be like, that would be stupid if this was the case. Kind of like as a joke, and I stopped and I went, shit.
That's funny.
And then as all the pieces kind of started falling together, I'm like, well, I'm not seeing anything that disproves my theory. That said, I think once it gets brushed up a little bit, once it gets another patch or so out there on the PC version, I don't know about console experiences.
I've heard consoles running well.
Yeah, I think they put most of their time into making the consoles hum. Hey there, Ninja Wolf. Good to have you as well. I think once it gets polished up a little bit more for PC, it could be a good game. I do not think it is worthy of the 10s that we see dropping everywhere for it. I think it's more of like a high 8 to low 9 game. It is good. It is damn good. I like it quite a bit. But it ain't the best thing this year so far.
Yeah, I'm super biased. We've had this discussion a bunch of times that Dishonored, like either of those games, weren't really the games for me. But people seem to flip and love them, so I kind of expected that people were going to like this game just because they like that arcaniness of it all.
They make an excellent world that you can explore around in, because there's all kinds of weird shit that you can do. It's very reminiscent of it is reminiscent of, but not comparable to, the Deus Ex games, where it's like, here is your mission objective. How do you want to do it?
To me, it looks more like Hitman.
It shows a lot of Hitman in there too, but specifically that you try and track down targets. Where you can just go in guns blazing, you can hop through the vents, you can try to take someone over. There's a lot of ways
off a
to
ledge,
complete your goal.
fancy things.
It's an interesting sandbox they give you. But yeah, that is what I have been playing. Have you been up to anything?
Not really, honestly. I had jumped back into Valheim for a little bit because that had a big patch that came out.
Mm-hmm.
Just for fun. Other than that, I'm kind of in a holding pattern. I'm waiting for... I don't even know what I'm waiting for at this point, which is kind of a bummer.
Well, we have a whole bunch of stuff coming out soon-ish, which is great.
Sure.
It seems that the dry period is coming up, and then, of course, early next year,
Early next year is going to be a
drops.
banger. I'm pretty excited for that. I just wish more of that was coming sooner.
Expect 60% of that shit to get delayed, to be quite honest with you. If anything, it's going to go in the opposite direction of what you want.
I know. That's fair.
So, enough of the chit-chat. Let's go ahead and move right into the news, starting with some Activision Blizzard stuff. This first headline is from the Wall Street Journal. Link will be provided down in the description or the Discord server if you want to read up on all these yourself. Headline: Security and Exchange Commission is investigating Activision Blizzard over workplace practices and disclosures. So the saga of Activision Blizzard's malfeasance continues to get worse for that company.
It has grown. What once was just the state of California has blossomed into the U.S. federal government.
Yeah, that's always fun, right? To the article. Federal securities regulators have launched a wide-ranging investigation into Activision Blizzard Incorporated, including how the video game publishing giant handled employees' allegations of sexual misconduct and workplace discrimination, according to the people familiar with the investigation and documents viewed by the Wall Street Journal. The SEC has subpoenaed Activision, known for its Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, and Candy Crush franchises, and several senior executives, including longtime CEO Bobby Kotick, according to People and Documents. So the big man himself getting called before the stand. The agency is asking for documents including minutes from Activision board meetings since 2019, personnel files of 6 former employees, and separation agreements with the company has reached within this year's staffers, the records show. The SEC is asking Mr. Kotick communications or other senior executives regarding complaints of sexual harassment or discrimination by Activision employees or contractors, documents show. An Activision spokeswoman, Helene Klasky, on Monday confirmed the SEC's investigation concerns, quote, the company's disclosures regarding the employment matters and related issues, end quote, and adding the agency has subpoenaed several current and former employees. The company is cooperating with SEC, the spokeswoman said. An SEC spokeswoman declined to comment. David.
Yes. So we've only heard anything from Activision, not from the actual SEC.
They are actively investigating, though, it sounds like, based on what's going on. We'll see how this shakes out. Now, remember, an investigation from the SEC sometimes turns up nothing.
While that is true, I am willing to bet that I no longer have to use the word allegedly anytime we talk shit about Activision Blizzard, because they managed to fuck up enough to get a federal agency to look into them.
That you can say definitively.
You can kind of lean into the where there's smoke, there's fire.
I would still use the term allegedly when making specific charges, but you can say that the situation has deteriorated to the point where the feds got fucking involved.
Yeah. You done fucked up.
Whenever a problem is big enough that the CEO of a corporation like this is being dragged into by subpoena, that is an issue. And their stock has taken a pounding once again because of it.
Yep.
So they are paying for it there too. Will anything happen to Bobby Kotick? I highly, highly doubt it, given the structure.
He's their golden boy. They're just going to give him another few $100 million bonus.
Furthermore,
sorry you had to go to court, Mr. Kotick.
Given the structure and the nature of the complaints, too, Bobby Kotick can safely quarantine himself from Blizzard. You could say, hey, that was a section of our company. Yes, I take responsibility for it, but I was not directly involved in those, and we are doing our best to correct the behavioral problems.
Hey, I don't micromanage. I'm a big picture guy. I sit up here in this tower.
Yeah,
and I don't know what he actually does.
That will be the justification that involves him staying. So don't expect him to get fired anytime soon. He's sticking around. Even though he's still, I believe, listed. I know it was a couple years ago. I don't know if it's current, but he was listed as one of the most overpaid CEOs in America or something like that for what he actually
100%.
brings in. I wish I had that article handy. I love bringing that up every time.
The most overpaid CEO in America.
Yeah, when they define overpaid, by the way, I believe they apply what he makes yearly compared to what he had brought in year over year.
Yes.
So it's like it's
not just saying it's not just saying he makes more money than everybody else. It's literally the amount of work that this man performs for his company compared to his paycheck.
Yeah. Which I just find hilarious every time I think of that. Further, Activision.
That's also why I never have any sympathy for anything related to Bobby Kotick.
Bobby Kotick specifically, I can go on.
Like, fuck that guy. I don't give a shit what happens to that guy.
Not to have an SEC investigation, however, be the only bit of bad news coming out of Activision Blizzard. We have this article here via PC Gamer. Overwatch executive producer is leaving Blizzard.
They are just bleeding people at this point.
This is a
Everyone
lot of
is getting the hell out of the ship.
Blizzard is losing yet another top executive, according to a new Bloomberg report, which says that Overwatch executive producer Chaco Sony will leave the company on Friday. The resignation comes amidst high-profile allegations of widespread sexual harassment and misconduct at Activision Blizzard, which have resulted in a Department of Fair Employment and Housing lawsuit, a complaint with the National Labor Relations Board, and most recently the launch of the aforementioned SEC investigation into its handling of complaints of workplace abuse. Multiple sources told Bloomberg that Sony was a respected figure, however, and said they aren't aware of any allegations of misconduct against him. Sony wasn't as high-profile figure as former Overwatch director Jeff Kaplan, who left Blizzard earlier this year, but has served as an executive producer on the series for 3 years and was production director for 2 years prior to that. His resignation comes less than 24 hours after Blizzard chief legal officer Claire Hart announced that she was also leaving the company after 3 years of service. Activision Blizzard is the fucking Titanic, and people are seeing the writing on the wall. This is going to go bad. David, does Blizzard survive, or does it just get all folded into the Activision name? Is the Blizzard name so fucking toxic now that they just drop it completely?
I think it's on. So it's kind of a funny thing, and I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but I honestly think it's going to depend on how well the Diablo 2 remake sells.
I think you might be right on that. I do know
if it sells gangbusters. Like if all of this doesn't matter to sales, and that game just sells as well as they anticipated it selling, then fuck no, nothing's gonna happen. But if that game tanks, if everyone decides, you know what, I'm not gonna give Blizzard any money because it sounds like they're kind of a shitty place, and that Diablo 2 remake just doesn't do anything, you might be on the right track. It might just all become Activision.
We do know that Activision itself is hiding its name, though. When that Call of Duty Vanguard trailer dropped, when the first story trailer for it released, for the first month or so it was out, it did not have Activision anywhere on it.
Yeah, just Sledgehammer.
Yeah, it just had the studios that worked on it. It didn't say like Activision Presents or anything. It wasn't until later trailers actually started mentioning Activision again. So this is already something that as a company as a whole has done is to move the Activision name from a couple things.
Yeah.
And Blizzard, as much shit as we give Activision, the Blizzard side of the business, I would say, is even more despised currently right now because it has been years on a downward slope.
Yeah, and WoW is losing subscribers like no tomorrow. I guess the question is, how much do they need Battle.net?
They've already talked about changing that name before, so I think that name will also get changed. I would not be surprised if you see a massive Blizzard rebranding where they just go, all of our games are made by Activision now, and they drop the Blizzard name from it. Furthermore, Blizzard... when Activision as a company has been fucking up, it has not been Sledgehammer. It has not been Raven. It has not been Treyarch. It has only been Blizzard. To the point where people, I think, see them as two separate companies.
Yeah, even though they're absorbed, and even though it's technically called Activision Blizzard, people still look at Blizzard as its own thing, even though it hasn't been for the longest fucking time.
Yeah.
And you can tell, right?
And that was in Blizzard's credit at first, where people went, oh, that's a Blizzard game, it's going to be okay. But over the past few years since they've been absorbed by Activision, now when something goes bad, when you hear something bad out of Activision these days, it's not from anyone else other than Blizzard now.
Yeah. Y'all have phones, don't you?
We had an unfortunate incident. God, what the fuck was it that Brack said about the Blitzchung thing?
Oh, dude, yeah.
When he gave the most non-apology I've ever fucking seen in this industry. An industry built on non-apologies.
Right.
I don't think the name Blizzard is long for this world. I think they're going to slowly shut it down.
We'll have to wait and see. Well, I mean, and we could be way off base. Maybe they just do some kind of rebranding, or maybe they fold it in a different direction, or maybe they open a new sub studio, but it's basically Blizzard, but they give it some other name. Like, who knows what they're going to do with it, right?
I don't know. But, I just think that I don't know if it's going to happen, but I can assure you there are serious talks happening at the high-end levels on whether or not to retire the name Blizzard from that company.
That makes sense.
Because it's just so associated with so much bad shit right now. Sexual harassment, Chinese capitulation, human rights violations by not letting people speak up about the fucking oppressiveness of some of the dealings they do overseas. And it's all 100. It's not like I mean, I can only beat this horse so many times, so I'm starting to repeat myself. I'm just so bummed out by it because I am a very old PC gamer. I have been in PC gaming
it's that classic Blizzard was one of the good ones, right?
Yeah.
Blizzard was an old school name. They've been around forever. They've had a bunch of titles that people really loved and they had a lot of goodwill, and it's just slowly been eroding, and then more and more stories come out. And the Blizzard that exists now is not the one that everybody remembers wistfully. It's not your rose-tinted glasses Blizzard anymore. It hasn't been for actually a long time.
And it's more tragic with Blizzard because whereas BioWare is just kind of fading away and slowly becoming part of the hegemony that is EA, Blizzard is on fire and spiraling out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something tragic about that, especially if you come from the PC gaming scene from the mid-90s. When they released StarCraft, when they released Warcraft, when World of Warcraft, when it first launched, was like the hottest fucking thing ever. People were blown away by it. You don't get that anymore, especially from this company, and it's a goddamn shame. This is one of those things we have to look at. It is the would you rather burn out or fade away kind of question, right? Would you rather just explode and crash and burn, or do you just want to fade into obscurity, which is what BioWare is doing? Anyways, that's just my 2 cents on the thing. I don't think the Blizzard name lasts for another year. Well, let me rephrase that. I wouldn't be surprised if the Blizzard name doesn't last past another year or so.
Okay.
Or at the very least gets a massive rebranding where they change the Blizzard like 90s font. You know how like Blizzard's written in that like
geez,
cartoony 90s look.
They do something to tug on the nostalgia string.
Yeah, what they'll do is that they'll corporatize it. It'll be like block lettering, like New Times Roman or something like that. They'll change the logo of the company. If they keep the name.
Yeah, it'll be a rebrand or an update or something.
They will rebrand and go, hey, this is the new Blizzard. That is likely to happen, but I would not be surprised if they just dump the name entirely. They'll call it like World Peace Games or something fucking stupid like that.
Wow. That is a stretch. But if anybody else has any suggestions on what Blizzard could be renamed by Activision in order to save face, please throw them at us, because that sounds like a great time.
It is a stretch, but we live in a hell world, so I just expect the worst, stupidest fucking possible answer to anything right now.
Oh, boy. Well, I think that's enough of that. I think we've officially squeaked every last bit of entertainment we can out of the just utter debacle that is Activision Blizzard, at least for this week.
For this week. There will be more shit next week. I promise you.
Luckily, they are the gift that keeps on giving for a game podcast that talks about gaming news. Thanks, guys. Keep on keeping on. And by that, I mean your constant fuck-ups are an amusement to me.
Dave, why don't you go ahead and lead us off on the next story here?
Yes, in a story from Dual Shockers, Quantic Dream's Star Wars title has been in the works for 18 months. After Quantic Dream's 3-game deal expired with Sony in 2018, after the release of Detroit Become Human, the president and founder of the studio, David Cage, began exploring new opportunities and partners, which is why you haven't seen a Cage-released Sony game in a while.
Yeah,
the rumor was first...
Yeah, since Beyond Human. Additionally, the Quantic Dream and Sony fallout is the stuff of Legends. They do not like each other at all. And it's at the point where Sony PR all but openly talk shit about Quantic Dream these days. It's very entertaining to watch.
Moving on. The rumor was first reported by French YouTuber and ex-journalist Gatoz on September 16. It was reported that they've now finished their contract with Sony and will be signing with Disney. In a separate conversation, however, this is still Gatoz. I was also speaking to an individual who provided overwhelming evidence that he had contacts at Quantic Dream and reported that the Star Wars game by the studio had been in the works for around 18 months. The evidence was that concrete in fact that I reported on the findings with a somewhat of a small cryptic tweet whilst the investigation into the news continued. It's still currently unclear on what exactly the 18-month time span entails, with rumors that the French developer community is suggesting the title could just started development in the past several months. So it could be they were in the pre-planning stage, or they just talked about it, or they were negotiating, or who knows.
Or we could have it drop tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. What makes the recent bits of information more interesting, though, is that the official Quantic Dream Twitter handle liked a tweet of a Star Wars rumor by the GamePost, but the like has since been removed. So this is one of those classic examples of Quantic Dream most likely working on a Star Wars game, and this is another very bad kept secret in the gaming industry.
Right.
That all being said, what the hell does a Quantic Dream Star Wars game look like, and is that something you want?
I have extremely mixed feelings about Quantic Dream.
Right?
I love roughly...
I absolutely adore the first 2/3 of Indigo Prophecy.
Same here. I think Heavy Rain was fucking amazing. I really liked Detroit Become Human. Beyond Two Souls sucked ass. So they have a very... And we're not going to go into like the weird Omnicron shit with David Bowie or anything like that.
Yeah, and we don't need to talk about like David Cage's giant ego and all of that stuff either.
Quantic Dream does some cool shit, though.
They do.
And
they are more akin to a walking simulator / exploration narrative game than anything else.
If anything, they're one of the progenitors of the current walking sim.
Right? It's always a interactive movie with a Quantic Dream game.
And
so
they
I
are
think
very
it
open
could
about
lend
that.
well to the universe of Star Wars, where you're not necessarily... This is the perfect time. We've had this conversation where I don't want another damn game where I'm playing as a Jedi or I'm dealing with that. I want to see what everyone else is doing in the Star Wars universe. I want to see like the regular people, or what like Lando's day job looks like. What's the random Coruscant shit going on?
There are so many stories you can tell in that universe that have never been told. So I'm excited for this.
There's a million ways you can go that isn't just a classic. If this game ends up being about a Skywalker somehow, fuck it. I don't want it.
We're doing well, by the way, Morathon. Thank you. I don't even want Skywalker as a cameo. I don't want any major character as a cameo in this, other than like you might see a poster.
Keep it in universe. Keep it its own thing. If you want to throw in a Mandalorian, just don't make it Mando.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Boba. Like, throw in somebody else. Get somebody else to do it.
What I'm more excited about here, David, isn't the fact that Quantic Dream is making a Star Wars game. Well, it kind of is. But it's not that those particulars, that's Quantic Dream making Star Wars. It's that Disney is willing to let all kinds of people make Star Wars games now, because we have this Star Wars game here from Quantic Dream. You still have EA doing some shit. You have oh my god, what was that other Star Wars game that we just heard of recently?
They're doing the thing where they're actually starting to spread the license around a little bit.
Yeah, they're spreading their license around among multiple developers, which means we're going to get multiple different styles of Star Wars games, which is awesome.
Which is exciting.
That is what I want to see.
Which is the thing we wanted for the longest time for Games Workshop to do, and then they finally did, and then they opened the floodgates, and we got 300 million Games Workshop games. Which,
yeah, 2 of them are good quality.
To be fair, they vary wildly in quality, but I think they err a little more towards positive, in my opinion. So
yeah, same
I'm fine
here.
with it.
They are on the right side of mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean that like as a negative thing. I don't want to
we're not trying to be dicks about it. It's literally like there's more good games than bad, and that can only really happen when they let the license get spread to everybody that wants to actually work on it, as opposed to we give it to this company, they get one shot at it for a year, and if it doesn't work, then that's the only game you see in this universe for the next 3 years.
Then we get fucking Star Wars Connect.
Yeah.
Wilson's Corner is asking, I'll give them a pass if we go to Dex's Diner and just hang out with Dexter Jetster. I forgot that fucker actually existed. Like, they played him up to be this major character, and I have not seen him in any other form of media in Star Wars yet. It's also asking, are these new games canon? Wilson, I am almost positive they will be canon.
Yeah, so Disney was... the way Disney's handling the Star Wars license is more of a stranglehold than any other way to put it.
Yeah.
Everything has to go by like the core group, and I can't remember their names, but I think there's 2 or 3 people that are like running the Star Wars brand at this point, and it all has to go go by the book. You know, there's these stories they can talk about, these characters that people can talk about, and that's
I would
just the
be
way it's
willing
going.
to bet this is 100% in canon to a degree. That's one of the main reasons why they nuked all the old expanded universe shit so they could start fresh and
Hmm.
have complete creative control on how this expands out. Now, we could be wrong on this. This is just speculation. But given how they have operated recently, I would assume that whatever you see on here, barring it being some kind of like Lego Star Wars or something like that,
Yeah.
I would expect this to be 100% in canon, as well as that Knights of the Old Republic remake
Now,
that
see,
is
that
coming
one's
out.
interesting to me because Knights of the Old Republic has its own story, and I feel like it's kind of going to adhere to that. But that story is in the old expanded universe, so it wouldn't be considered canon post the Disney purchase.
They'll
So
do
I'm
it.
actually
I
I'm
get the
actually
feeling they'll
interested
do
on how
it
they're going
like
to
they
play
did
that.
Thrawn.
Okay.
Like Thrawn was expanded universe, but they brought him back for Rebels, and it sounds very likely they're going to be bringing him back for the TV stuff.
Okay. So they might find a way to roll it in, but also keep it on the level, as it were.
Yeah, because Thrawn in Rebels is for the most part the exact same. Like they didn't really change that character at all from Thrawn from the books. But Thrawn is now canon, just out of the timeline he was in the original EU, and it sounds like, once again, pure speculation. It sounds like all their TV shows, like The Mandalorian, The Bad Batch, the other Andor, all you know how they're doing all the Star Wars
Hmm.
TV shit. It's sounding like Thrawn is going to be the link that ties it all together
Interesting. That's kind of cool.
because they're all kind of hunting him.
Why not?
He might be their big bad, but we'll see how that shakes out. That's just a theory that I have. I can't confirm or deny that, but it seems to be what they're building up to.
That means
Let's
something to me.
see. Back to chat again. Why do you think they got a new lead writer for it? Are they going to tell us the same story but change to the beach? Well, you got a new lead writer for it because Coder's like 20 years old at this point.
Yeah, the old writers don't work there anymore.
Yeah, that's the long and the short of it.
I guess this could also tie back into the whole Disney thing. They have to change some things, I'm willing to bet. And so they need someone that's going to work on the game.
Also, furthermore, the Coder remake is not in the hands of EA. It is in the hands of Aspire. So it's a completely different company doing it. It's not BioWare. So that's also something interesting about it, too. I'd be curious to know how much they can actually bring over because it's not BioWare doing it. I don't know how much of that IP of Coder they own. Probably
You're
none
right.
of it. Probably none of it, if I'd imagine.
And how much of that are they just building that game from scratch? I don't even know at this point.
Yeah, Revan has been all but confirmed in it. In that little teaser trailer, you see like Revan's mask pop up at the end, so it's like, okay, he's clearly in it. We'll go from there. I have my own reservations about it, but I will get into that in another show. Let us know what
That
you
being
think.
said, we're clearly excited for more Star Wars video games.
Yeah, and hopefully in the right hands. And let's brace ourselves right now. We're gonna get some shitty ones.
Hell yeah. And you know what? For a fact, I'm going to love a couple of those shitty ones.
Yeah, probably same here. Probably same here.
My interests and Metacritics do not always align. What are you going to do?
Next story here. This is a bit of a dry one, and there's a lot of text here, so bear with me. But I have to kind of set the stage so we know what's going on here. This is via Eurogamer headline. Former Bungie composer Marty O'Donnell found in contempt of court over use of Destiny assets.
Oh, yeah.
And if you
It's
don't know who
illegal
those names
talk.
are, if you don't know who these names are or what happened here, this article will explain it all. This is via Eurogamer if you want to read the whole thing on your own. Composer Marty O'Donnell has been found in contempt of court over his use of Destiny assets and now owes Bungie tens of thousands of dollars in legal fees, Eurogamer could reveal. In April this year, Bungie served the celebrated composer behind the original Halo music with contempt of court papers over videos related to Destiny that were uploaded to O'Donnell's YouTube channel and other platforms. The contempt of court claims related to terms of the prior lawsuit between Bungie and O'Donnell over his acrimonious exit from the company, a lawsuit O'Donnell eventually won. For those of you who don't know, the guy that made all the original Halo music had a really nasty falling out with Bungie over a bunch of like unpaid royalties and bonuses and shit. And
Yep.
he won a lot of that back. But there were terms and conditions with that lawsuit.
Oh, weird.
Going on from here. Bungie said O'Donnell, who was Bungie's veteran audio director until he was fired in April 2014, was ordered to return all material related to the music of the Spheres in Destiny and was blocked from sharing or performing it as a part of a 2015 injunction. Bungie said all material includes not just music of Spheres in their final state, but all versions, components, and variations of the tracks. That is, all material involved in any way in the creation of music of Spheres in Destiny. Fast forward to 2019, where O'Donnell began uploading videos and other materials relating to music of the Spheres in Destiny to his YouTube channel as well as Bandcamp.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
Yeah, that's a real bad idea, especially the company that you burned bridges on.
Yeah, like you signed a line saying, "Hey, I'm not allowed to use this old stuff anymore," and then you waited a couple years, and then you immediately started using that old stuff.
It gets worse for him because of the certain situations that happens to it. Mr. O'Donnell's very possession of such materials proves he did not comply with the order to turn all material to Bungie. Bungie's motion reviewed by VRGamer reads. Bungie also noted O'Donnell posted tracks from my album titled Sketches for MOTS to Bandcamp, where users were able to pay him a fee if they wanted to. Ooh. AKA, he was making money off of shit he wasn't supposed to have.
Charging money for things you're not legally allowed to have.
He wasn't charging for it. Pay him a fee if they wanted to.
You can get a tip. You can give a tip for this stuff that this guy's not supposed to have.
That might be a legal distinction, but at the end, he is still profiting off of things he's not supposed to have.
Yeah, I don't think that works with buying drugs either.
Bungie argued all this activity amounted to a contempt of court and violation of the 2015 injunction, and the court agreed. A representative of Bungie said the company is unable to comment on ongoing litigation, but pointed to the court's ruling above. O'Donnell declined to comment when contacted by Eurogamer. Smart of him, by the way. Mm-hmm. The court has now imposed upon O'Donnell a number of sanctions, including a third-party forensic examination of his electronic devices in order to delete any assets related to Destiny or Music of the Spheres. O'Donnell must also remove all relevant material from the internet, which he's already done this, if you're wondering where his YouTube channel went. Marty O'Donnell, like, his entire online presence just disappeared a little while ago. As a direct result of this, more than likely. O'Donnell must also write to any third party he is aware of who also posted the material and ask them to remove it.
That's a ridiculous statement.
Yes.
Anybody that he can think of that might have reposted the stuff that he wasn't supposed to post, he has to write a letter to.
Yeah. That is a ridiculous statement.
I don't think that can be enforced.
O'Donnell is also ordered to, quote, post a message with the wording of which the parties agree to on his Twitter, YouTube, Bandcamp, and SoundCloud sites and channels, stating that he did not have legal authority to possess, provide material related to Music of Spheres or Destiny, and asking anyone who previously downloaded any such assets to delete them and refrain from sharing them, and will destroy any copies of them. That's an even more ridiculous demand.
The fact that this was even released in this statement means that every single person that downloaded any amount of all of this stuff has uploaded it to every single share website you can possibly imagine. Yeah, it is gone. The genie is out of the bottle. I'm sorry, Bungie, but you're fucked. This is everywhere.
When you tell the internet it
playing
must
in the
do
background
something,
on TikTok videos tomorrow.
I did almost have it queued up to start playing here, but we're probably gonna strike. When you tell Bungie, you should know this. When you tell the internet that they must do something, they will go out of their way to show not only what they must not be, that they don't have to do anything, but they're going to go out of their way to show that you must shut the fuck up if you want it to go away.
Yep. That's the only way it works here.
This is also kind of ridiculous, too. I like this part. Mr. O'Donnell will refrain from making any direct or indirect public comment regarding these posts, including responses to those inquiring regarding base for such posts, and will let the message speak for itself. So,
it's
in other
so
words,
asinine. It's so
he has to write.
He did fuck up, right?
Admittedly. Yeah.
He provided and sent out material that was not legally his to own because he signed the original agreement, right? He won that lawsuit. He got paid. He got his royalties. But as part of that agreement, he was not allowed to distribute or use any of the stuff that he'd worked on for Bungie at that time. And he agreed to that, right? So he definitely fucked up.
He is absolutely in the wrong here.
He's absolutely in the wrong here. That being said, the demands and arrangement that Bungie is putting upon him as a result of this is so ridiculously fucking asinine. It's kind of funny, except for the fact that teeters a little bit of like a company like just beating on the little guy, so it pisses me off a small
This is
degree
some borderline Kafka shit. Because
it's real fucky, and I don't love it.
If I'm reading this right, that means he has to post a message on all of his social media and content creation shit saying, I did not have the legal authority to share this with me. And he can't comment on it after
can't
that.
say anything after the fact.
And if anyone asks why this is here, he can't respond to that.
And he has to write a letter to anybody that he could think of that might have copies of this shit.
O'Donnell so far has not done this. O'Donnell must also pay Bungie all the money of any kind he received from the sale of related materials uploaded to Bandcamp, and O'Donnell is ordered to pay Bungie's reasonable costs associated with the contempt proceeding, including attorney's fees as well as fees associated with third-party examination of his electronic devices. These fees are currently in dispute, with O'Donnell's representatives arguing that the near $100,000 Bungie has called for is unreasonable. Now,
because he doesn't have $100,000.
Let me pause right here. To you and I, David, and maybe to Martin O'Donnell, I don't know, $100,000 is a lot of money.
Dude, he's a lead audio engineer. He doesn't have $100,000 in his back pocket.
Yeah, but he's the lead audio engineer of fucking Halo.
He was.
I don't know how much money.
7 years ago.
I don't know how much money he is making now with his current studio, which is doing 7 Days in Fallujah. Because I think he owns part of it too. I don't know how much money he got from his bonuses and termination.
Because I am
Bungie.
willing to bet, I'm almost willing to guarantee that this man is not making any royalties from anything he did at Bungie.
But
when they cut hard.
All of that aside, how much he has or hasn't done, the point that I'm trying to make is $100,000 is nothing to Bungie.
That's true.
And that's how acrimonious the split is that they're putting these fucking insane demands over $100,000 worth of damages.
Yeah.
If it was anyone else not named Martin O'Donnell, this would not be any. They wouldn't even care. I don't think.
I don't even think we'd have a story about it, right? It would just be, it was settled out of court, and the guy paid $8,000 or whatever.
This feels like someone somewhere has like a vengeance shall be mine attitude about it, and that's why it's like this. That's just my stance on it, though. Anyways, I wanted to bring that up. That's normally not something we would go too in depth into on this show.
It's kind of a special occasion. Right.
The demands at the end just get fucking ludicrous, and I felt like that had to be brought up. But anyways, let us know what you think about this situation between Bungie and Martin O'Donnell. Is it Martin or Marty O'Donnell? I think it's Martin O'Donnell, but he goes by Marty O'Donnell. Bungie and O'Donnell. Let us know what you think about it down below.
Yeah,
David.
Who knows? Oh boy.
Do you want this quick rundown, or do you want me to handle it real fast?
No, I got it. We're good. In a little bit more of the Keeley show, streamed last Friday was the THQ Nordic 10th anniversary showcase. That's right. It has been 10 years since, Nordic bought the entirety of the old THQ and rebranded themselves as THQ Nordic, which still genius, right? THQ had all this fan loyalty and recognition with the name, and Nordic was kind of just a smaller company at the time. If you recall,
I refuse to believe THQ had any kind of fan loyalty whatsoever.
Come on, man. People like THQ. Or if nothing else, people had heard of THQ.
Yes, they had some name recognition, but I'm still amazed to this day that Nordic bought THQ and didn't call it Nordic THQ, but called it THQ Nordic.
Yeah, that is really funny.
That name was dead, as opposed to their catalog was.
Turns out you're wrong, because it's been a great move. They've now pulled this off for 10 years, and they own every single game that you've loved in your childhood, a few of which are getting new versions that they showed off during this stream. On the list, we've got the Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed, which is a full remake of the original game, adding and improving features while building the game in Scratch in Unreal Engine 4. Which is pretty damn cool. Destroy All Humans is a fun franchise, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's worth a playthrough.
Yeah, Outcast 2, A New Beginning, is also shown off, which is 20 years after the first game. Who expected another Outcast game?
I didn't expect this myself. I'm kind of surprised that this is coming. Outcast, did you ever play the original?
Nope.
It was one of those weird cult hits that never achieved the notoriety some cult hits do achieve. They released a remake of the first one, I think called Second Contact or something like that a couple years back. Mm-hmm. It's all right. It's not something I expect to see again, but hey, that is what THQ Nordic goes for. Games that I thought were all right and never expected to see again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still excited for a bunch of stuff they're working on, so let's go. Bring it all out. Expedition Rome is also shown, another game in the Expedition series. And I don't know, people like some of those.
The Expedition games, by the way, are CRPGs set in a real-world setting, so no fantasy shit. I really want to like this series. I reviewed one of the earlier games, Vikings, for GameCritics.com a few years back, and I really want to enjoy it, but that game was so fucking broken that every time I would get about 3 or 4 hours into it, I would have to do a hard reset from the very beginning again because a quest chain would break. And it wasn't ever the same chain twice. It was always a different problem. That forced me to restart from the very beginning. To date, it is the only review of a game that I have done where I did not finish the game completely. And I state that at the very beginning of the review. It's like, I would love to have fucking reviewed this game, but after spending 25 hours into it and only progressing 3 hours because of all the hard resets I had to do, I am officially done with playing that. So I want this to be great, but I would give that caveat to anything from this developer.
Oh boy. Well, yeah, I didn't play it.
I want it to be good, though.
I'm laughing at chat. Oh, it's that's the dumb thing that he says that gets you of all the dumb things he says. Anyway, also shown off during this stream, MX vs Atv Legends, another game in this motorcycle ATV video game franchise. Last game came out 3 years ago, and if you like outdoor motorsports, they're fun. People like these games, so good on you. Superpower 3, Super Nerd map game. Did you ever play Superpower 1 or 2?
No, I didn't. But this is
one of those numerous licenses when they were just gobbling up everything you could think of.
This is one of those things that it might be a little too spreadsheety even for me.
Damn.
Yeah, it is interesting, but I don't know if I can handle it.
Yep. They showed off some Elex 2, which, I mean, still looks cool. Elex 1, I think, was a decent enough, like, Souls-adjacent game, right?
It falls in that same category those early Spiders games did.
Mm-hmm.
Where it is a good budget title.
Yeah. And I also think that Elex got some decent mod support, so if you never modded the crap out of that game, it does get a bit better, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still interested in seeing what they do for the second one. Jagged Alliance 3.
Oh, man.
You're, I'm sure, excited for, or at least anxious about.
Jagged Alliance has had a real rough history, David. The first one is amazing. The first one, in some circles, is spoken with the same reverence like the original XCOM was. During that mid-90s PC gaming golden age. I think the first one came out in 97, 98, 99, somewhere around there. The second one was okay. And then there have been multiple attempts to bring this back in action, to use one of their later games, and they've all sucked. And they have all used the tagline, "Finally a return to the Jagged Alliance experience," and none of them have come even close.
But none of them have a 3 on the end.
Yeah, when I heard Jagged Alliance 3 kind of using that same tagline, I immediately jumped back in horror. I was like, no. But I saw it did look good. They're clearly ripping off the modern XCOM with its if you look at the interface, it looks like the modern XCOM games.
If the format ain't broke, they did it once, they could do it again.
Don't fuck with what works,
Yep. And how about SpongeBob SquarePants: The Cosmic Shake? You gonna play that one?
No, but this is not surprising. We don't hear rumors that because of how well Battle for Bikini Bottom's remastering did, that they would be probably making
people
another
love
SpongeBob
that
thing.
Bikini Bottom game.
I'm shocked with how well people love that game. That's one of those games that came out when it first came out, because I'm old enough to be in retail when that happened. And I remember going, this is dumb, and no one really bought it, at least at the store that I was at. But goddamn, do people have some nostalgia for that game.
Dude, it's a 3D platformer that just didn't come out for the right generation for you. But keep in mind that Crash and Spyro is for 90s kids. SpongeBob is for 2000s kids.
I hate them all, so.
Man, what an ass.
Mario's my platformer. Sonic. I'm the generation even before Sonic and before Crash and Spyro.
Yeah, that's fair. All in all, at the end of the stream, they did show off that THQ Nordic does have 42 games in development. If you recall, a while back, we talked about the Embracer Group having like 117 games in development, and a shit ton of them have come out. But there's still 28 video games that THQ Nordic is working on that are completely unannounced post this showcase. 28 games. We don't even know what they're doing.
You can guarantee that new Time Splitters is in there somewhere.
Ah, dude, I'm so excited for the new
Time Splitters. You know it's in there. You know they're making it. They've teased it too much to not make it.
I know, and that was the single purchase that they had that I was so excited for, and I just hope it's funny. Really, like I just need it to be a first-person shooter that's funny, but it isn't like horrible. And I'll be good. Oh man.
I'm trying to think of what else they might have though. Like Red Faction, they own the Red Faction license. I would love to see a Guerrilla 2, not Armageddon 2, not a new one. I want specifically Guerrilla 2.
So Titan Quest recently went free to play. If you ever played that,
I'd imagine they would have a new Titan Quest coming out because THQ Nordic doesn't have a Diablo clone anywhere, and that would fill that gap very nicely.
And they did release a Titan Quest expansion, post them purchasing it years and years and years, like what, 10 years or 7 years or something after that game's release, they released an expansion to it and it didn't have any. So maybe we get more Titan Quest?
I'd like to see it, but
I did really like that game.
42 games in development. I keep wondering who owns the Free Space license because I think they gobbled it up.
They might have, dude. We really need to just sit and have like a GamePoints Presents special episode or a special sit down with GamePoints
where we just go through fucking THQ owns.
Just all the shit that THQ Nordic's gobbled up.
Yeah, Embracer Group specifically owns.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be curious to know what those other 28 games are. I'm sure one of them's another Darksiders game. I'm sure there's a Time Splitters game in there. I'm positive there's a Red Faction game in there somewhere. We will see more of those come up. Hell, they might even
get a sequel.
Summoner. What was that?
Does Biomutant get a sequel? I don't know how well that game sold.
Yeah, I would say Biomutant gets a sequel.
Right? Because I know the reviews weren't like glowing, but that game did well enough, right?
But Biomutant is much like all of THQ's or Embracer Group's catalog. It's
a solid B game.
Yeah, it is. They are filling 100% of the middle market that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, because that's the thing. They're not here for the big AAAs. They're not here. They're not looking for the 9s and 10s. They're looking for the 7s.
Yeah, and there is a market for that.
That's my favorite area. That's all my favorite games are 7s.
David, we got the Blob. Hey, they might make the Blob. I think the Blob 3 actually exists, but I forgot the Blob is actually a franchise they own now too. Dang. We've got two more stories I want to mention up real quick. This one I'll take from Video Game Chronicle. Okay. The FCC points to Nintendo Switch controller announcement later this week. This is actually one of those kind of funny things where the government is inadvertently going to spoil something for us.
Hell yeah.
Earlier this month, Nintendo's request for a confidentiality agreement was submitted and listed to the FCC website for an item simply described as game controller.
Classic. That's huge news.
Bear with me. I know this sounds boring as fuck, but you can infer a lot of things from it. This is one of those things that's something stupid, but you can read kind of.
Keep going.
The initial documents listed on the website has suggested all the photos of the unrevealed controller, its manual, block diagram, and its schematics should be kept secret for up to 6 months. However, on Tuesday, new filings appeared on the FCC website stating that a short-term confidential information related to the peripheral, such as images and diagrams, will be made available this Friday, September 24th. If accurate, this suggests Nintendo will likely announce the mysterious device before the images were published by the U.S. government body this Friday. The FCC's website reveals dates could potentially corroborate claims that a new Nintendo Direct would be published this month. On that rumor, by the way, there isn't a single month that goes by that someone doesn't claim a Nintendo Direct is going to happen.
Okay, but to be fair, of all the people that have claimed a Nintendo Direct is coming, the FCC is pretty good.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Essentially, to break down what's happening is Nintendo filed a patent for a new controller.
Mm-hmm.
They have images and stuff given to the FCC. The FCC will make this public after a certain amount of time has passed. That date is going to be this Friday. So if Nintendo doesn't announce what this controller is before Friday, you will be able to publicly see what this patent for this controller is and potentially spoil any direct message they might have for it. Now,
Yep.
Nintendo, this could be for that long rumored Nintendo 64 game. I don't want to say Game Pass. They're equivalent to Virtual Console. They've been talking about Nintendo 64 coming out. This could be a 64 controller. And the images, the generic images of boxes, tend to line up appropriately if you look at the FCC warning on the 64 controller and the size of the box.
Okay.
Or this could just be
All
a
that being
conceptual
said-
thing that no one knows about at all.
That being said, I actually think that everyone is missing the thing that this could be that is way the fuck more important than a 64 controller remake.
What is that?
An actual fixed, working, non-drifting set of fucking Joy-Cons, Nintendo, you stupid pieces of shit.
No way. No
They
way, because then that would
refuse to acknowledge a problem that they created.
Yeah,
They
because if they refuse to acknowledge it, that's a lot of money they're going to have to pay out.
They could just release a pro version of the Joy-Cons, and oh, look at that, it suddenly doesn't have drift. That's so weird. And they can just say, it's got updated features as it does these new things.
FCC announces Direct. They announced that Obama is the final Smash DLC character. God damn, what a cursed timeline we would be in. Although there is something humorous about the idea of Kirby sucking him up and spitting him out at like Mario that I find funny.
Oh, dude, I would hit people with the thanks Obama super. That's fucking hilarious.
This isn't the first time that Nintendo's filed patents. They do the same thing with like the Super Nintendo controller before it came out, along with the confidentiality agreement. So either this is something that this is going to sound stupid because I'm about to say this either is something or isn't something.
Classic.
If this is the Nintendo 64 thing, you will have a direct within it'll be announced tomorrow and it'll show on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
If this is not the Nintendo 64 Direct controller, this is going to be some kind of random prototype for something because people file this shit all the time for things that just never come to light.
It could be another little driving thing that you put a Joy-Con in.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? I just find it funny that the FCC might pull a Canadian Walmart or Canadian Amazon or whatever the hell it was and actually leak a Nintendo news story.
Oh, that'd be great.
Was that Canadian Walmart or Canadian Amazon?
I want to say it was Walmart.
I think it was Walmart.
Yeah. Anyway, we got one more story. This one is from Deadline, and it is... Oh, man, it's just so unnecessary. But we're going to talk about it. Anthony Mackie set to star as John Doe in live-action Twisted Metal series from Sony TV and PlayStation Productions. Yes, we have talked before about a rumor of a Twisted Metal TV series, and it seems like it's happening for some reason. Quick, without Googling, Steven, can you tell me when the last time a Twisted Metal video game came out and which console it might have been for?
2008 on the PlayStation 3, Twisted Metal Black.
Who the fuck wants a Twisted Metal TV show?
Was I right?
Yes.
God damn, I hate that I'm right.
This is a 13
Was I 100% right? Was it 2008? Was it PlayStation 3? And was it Twisted Metal Black?
Okay. I know you're right on at least 2 of the 3 counts. I don't know the exact year.
I'm going to find that out when you go on your rant.
It seems unnecessary, but anyway, let's talk about it. After recently being named the next Captain America, Anthony Mackie looks to have found his next juicy role to sink his teeth into. Sources tell Deadline that Mackie's set to star in and executive produce Sony Pictures Television and PlayStation Productions' Twisted Metal, a live-action adaptation of the popular video game. Mackie will play the lead role of John Doe in the half-hour live-action TV series, and insiders say Sony TV and PlayStation Productions are extremely high on the package, and a plan is in the works to take it to buyers soon. In a quote from Azid Kouzabash, head of PlayStation Productions...
I'm all kinds of fucking wrong. Twisted Metal, a reboot, happened in 2020 on the PlayStation 3. Twisted Metal Black in 2012. Twisted Metal Black was like in 2001 on the PlayStation 2.
Oh, they made a reboot in 2012? Dude,
Yeah.
I honestly thought that was Twisted Metal Black.
Same here.
Anyway, still dead for a very long time. You know, I think it'll still track. We're wrong about all kinds of things.
Yeah. It either way, it's a dead franchise. I don't know why they're doing this.
9 years is like 13 years, in that it's a long time ago.
In video game years, that's 100 years.
Right. In a quote from Assad, "We're thrilled to have Anthony Mackie on board. His ability to blend comedy, action, and drama is perfect for the twisted world we are creating." Twisted Metal is a high-octane action comedy based on an original take by Deadpool scribes Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick about a motor-mouthed outsider offered a chance at a better life, but only if he can successfully deliver a mysterious package across a post-apocalyptic wasteland. With the help of a trigger-happy car thief, he'll face savage marauders driving vehicles of destruction and other dangers on the open road, including a deranged clown who drives an all-too-familiar ice cream truck. So it's Mad Max in the Twisted Metal universe.
Yeah.
Doe is a smart-ass milkman who talks as fast as he drives with no memory of his past. Oh, amnesia. He gets a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make his wish of finding community come true, but only if he can survive an onslaught of savage vehicular combat. Cobra Kai writer Michael Jonathan Smith will write and executive produce the series, with Reese and Wernick attached to executive produce as well.
This sounds god-awful, but the people attached to it really have my interest.
Right, there's a shit ton of talent here, and I actually do really like Twisted Metal as much as I just took a shit on it, but only because they haven't gotten me a new one in a million years. I actually thought it was longer because I completely missed the reboot, and I might go look that up later. But it's been so long, and it's weird. Like, is there enough nostalgia for people to tune into a Twisted Metal show? Are they going to be able to pitch this so well enough to people that have never heard of the franchise?
I think that problem is going to resolve itself. I'd be shocked if there wasn't some kind of Twisted Metal game in active development right now.
Right? They have to do something. There has to be some kind of tie-in, or maybe they're going to re-release the old games, or there's some kind of crazy remaster. And I mean, like, full on, let's get an RE2 remake of the Twisted Metal franchise. Why not?
God, I completely forgot they remade Twisted Metal for 2012. That's how disconnected I am from that franchise. Like, the last one I legitimately remember was Black, and that was 2001.
Damn, that's so long ago.
On PlayStation 2. I clearly got that combined with the Twisted Metal reboot, though, as far as the day goes on it. This is something no one asked for and no one wants, but fuck, I hate the fact that anytime
I'll watch it. Come on, as soon as it comes out, I'll be.
I love Anthony Mackie. I think he's a great actor. It's written by the Deadpool guys, and that's one of the best things Marvel's done in the past few years. It's fucking from the Cobra Kai writer, a series that I gush over despite having only seen the first season of.
Yeah, the one that I told you had to watch because it was better than Karate Kid, and you're like, you're an idiot, and then you watch it, and you're like, you're kind of right.
Sir, I believe I told you about Karate Kid, Cobra Kai first.
No, that is just a ridiculous statement.
No, I'm almost positive I did because I watched it when I had like strep throat that one time. I binge watched it all in one thing.
I signed up for YouTube Red to watch it on a trial.
Either way, it's good. Watch Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai. Regardless of who watched it first, Cobra Kai is great.
and David is right. It is significantly better than any of the Karate Kid movies was.
Yes.
By leaps and bounds. David, we do have one delay that I want to mention real quick. It's
cool.
Actually
cover it for 8 seconds.
Yeah, it's actually kind of a big one. Battlefield 2042 has been delayed a few weeks now to November 19th. This does put it in the precarious position of releasing after Call of Duty, which has normally been something that Battlefield has been loath to do in the past. So this is going to be interesting how this shakes out for its sales. However, buzz seems to be more on the positive side for 42 than Vanguard, as one, well, people are kind of sour on Activision Blizzard, as we established earlier in the show, and two, it just seems to be a more fun game this year than Vanguard does.
It looks really good. I'm actually really excited for 2042.
This is really the first time I bought Battlefield in a very long time, so I'm really, really looking forward to it.
I'm still not going to buy it day one because I'm worried about the EA of it all. But
yeah, fair enough.
That being said, I think this looks like a ton of fun. I mean, I haven't loved Battlefield in a minute, but I desperately want this game to be good.
The last one,
so want it to be amazing.
The last one that I played and loved was Battlefield 3.
Yeah, I have hundreds of hours in Battlefield 3, and I don't think I have 50 hours in the next 3 released games combined.
Right. David, either way, November 19th is a significant time away from me. I could barely go a day without playing something new, let alone, 2-3 months? I'm going to be bored as hell. What can I do to keep myself entertained between now and the 19th?
Well, I've got a few things for you, my friend. One of them is a new video game that you can play on your shiny PS5. That's also on your PC if you have the Epic Game Store. Hina, Bridge of Spirits, hits this week for the PlayStations and PC. Again, this is an Epic exclusive on PC. Third-person action-adventure game, which is developed and published by Emberlap. And the story follows Kina, a young spirit guide who uses her magical abilities to help deceased people move from the physical to the spirit world. This was shown off at that big PlayStation show whenever ago. I feel like it was years ago at this point, but time is a construct. And I think this game looks really good.
The
I think this
vibe
game
that
actually looks
the
really fun.
reviews for this game tend to give is that it is a early 2000s platformer with all the
Okay.
good and bad associated with that.
That's fair. But I think it looks incredible. So it's got that
Yeah,
bit
it
on
does
for
look
it,
cool.
right?
It's also $40, I think. It's at a budget price. I think.
See? $40 games, that helps. Because then I don't expect it to be amazing. I also feel like $40 games have less DLC and extra content bullshit.
I don't think that the publisher have much faith in this because one, it's $40. Two, they put the embargo on the game for like midnight of the date it already launched, so people were playing the game before reviews came out.
Gotcha.
I think I need to
also out this week,
World
World War Z Aftermath. Hey, it's PlayStation, Xbox, PC. This is the action zombie co-op that is definitely not Left 4 Dead, and it's definitely not Back 4 Blood, but it is kind of those games. This is a sequel to the World War Z game that came out a few years ago that hit 15 million players, which isn't bad. Co-op zombie shooter, fight off hordes of ravenous zombies and intense story episodes across new zombie ravaged locations around the world. I did play a bit of World War Z. I thought that game was fun, definitely good in a group, perfectly serviceable. Didn't quite have the same like hooks and staying power as like your Left 4 Dead and like a Vermintide for me. But it's still a good video game. So if you're interested in some zombie co-op action, take a look. I would not recommend playing it by yourself, though.
Absolutely
I don't think it'd be very fun.
These games these games have a thing about them where if you try just to do this on your own, or even with random people online, I don't feel like you get anywhere near the same experience if you actually have a team of friends doing it.
It's just not as fun, I don't think.
No.
But I don't think they built it with that in mind, right?
Correct.
Street Outlaws 2 Winner Takes All hits the PlayStations, the Xboxes, and Switch. This is a drag racing video game based on a TV show, and in the trailer to this video game, I'm pretty sure there was more footage from said TV show than there was from the actual video game. So take that as you will. Do you have what it takes to be crowned the Winner Takes All National Champion? 26 drag vehicles plus 5 challenge cars, 36 unique locations, over 250 parts for deep car customization. Featuring Ryan Martin, Big Chief, AZN, Lizzie, Farm Truck, and many more from the Street Outlaws TV show.
Okay.
I don't know any of those people.
No,
but I do know it's a drag racing video game that's based on a TV show that is popular enough to get a video game franchise. So if you're interested, take a look. Shelter 2 hits PC, isometric strategy resource management game. I feel like this is up your alley. A brutal survival management simulator set in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Keep your faction of survivors alive, maintain your shelter, and scavenge the ravaged world for resources.
I was looking at this earlier today. I
sounds
might reach out about
this. Sounds like something you'd play.
Yeah. I am into it.
Take a look or wait and see if by Thursday he's managed to hold himself away from playing it anyway. And then just watch that guy play it. Potion Craft Alchemist Simulator hits PC. This is a single-player sim crafting game whereas you physically interact with your tools and ingredients to brew potions. You're in full control of the whole shop, invent new recipes, attract customers, and experiment to your heart's content. Just remember, the whole town is counting on you. This game has a very cool aesthetic. It looks like a storybook.
Yeah,
and you actually are kind of going out to different locations and you're gathering plants, and it has you like mortar and pestle, and you're making potions, and you're just the town alchemist in like a fantasy setting. And this kind of seems like the game where you can just sit there and waste a bunch of time on. And I don't mean that in a bad way, right? It's just one of those sim life. I'm going to sit here and play it for 20 minutes and I accidentally played it for 4 hours. Dang it. I need to go to bed. This looks like one of those games. Ember hits PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC. This is a action sim, kind of cartoony, firefighting multiplayer / thieving game. This game looks ridiculous. You fight fires for fun and profit in this unpredictable and frantic multiplayer game. Team up with friends, take on daily challenges, and climb to the top of the corporate firefighting ladder. More than one way to become a hero. So you're a firefighter, but you can also like rob people while you're firefighting so that you can buy new upgrades, so that you can fight bigger fires, so you can rob fancier places.
There's something about this that I want to play. I don't know what it is, but I do want to play around.
It looks really funny. So take a look. Ember spelled EMBR. They don't have time for all the extra vowels. Next up, something that could be a make or break Blizzard title: Diablo 2 Resurrected. It's the PlayStations, the Xbox, Switch, and PC. It's Diablo 2 again, but it sure as fuck ain't from the same happy-go-lucky company.
I am
If
still
you've
of two
never,
minds if I want to get this or not, because I
if
was
you've
kind of
never
on board
heard
on
of
it.
Diablo 2, I don't think this game does anything for you.
No. I just...
If you are a hardcore Diablo 2 fan, do you want to go back? Do you want to give Blizzard, like, there's a million questions about it. If you buy this game, I'm not mad at you because some people fucking love Diablo 2. I played a lot of Diablo 2, but I don't.
There are
I don't know if I
so
need this
many
game.
roadblocks in the way of me enjoying this.
Also, there is two words that I can say that I feel like will push you more towards the no column on picking up Diablo 2 Resurrected. Warcraft Reforged.
Yeah. That's one of the big... Like I said, there are so many roadblocks.
Because the last time they did a remake of one of their classic properties,
fucked it up hard.
it was a complete shit show. So, I beg you, please, if you really want to play Diablo 2 Resurrected, wait for reviews.
This shit's also $40, by the way.
See if this game runs on PC, right? Make sure that this game actually works and it looks good and it's what you want. Don't pre-order it. Don't get all excited. Don't buy it at midnight, because guess what? It's not on Steam, so you can't return it after 2 hours.
Right. It's $40 for Diablo 2 Resurrected, or $60 if you want it along with Diablo 3 and all of its expansions.
Right. But that's kind of a weird statement, right? The Diablo 2 remaster plus all of Diablo 3, which is, I mean, arguably a better game at this point.
By their logic, Diablo 3 is worth less than Diablo 2.
Yeah, that seems weird to me.
Yeah.
Sable is also out this week on the Xbox and PC and Mac. Story-rich exploration game that I think looks awesome. This was shown at that Indie Dev Jam, I think, a million years ago. It was one of the many games we talked about that week. Embark on a unique and unforgettable journey and guide Sable through her gliding, a rite of passage that will take her across vast deserts and mesmerizing landscapes capped by the remains of spaceships and ancient wonders. This is the game that I said I was looking forward to because it does give me some Journey vibes, and I like these more melodic, slow,
I remember it.
Exploration video games. I think the art style is gorgeous, and I'm pretty excited actually about this video game. So I really hope it's good.
Published by Raw Fury. Raw Fury, much like Devolver Digital, they tend to have a certain seal of quality about them.
Yeah, their games tend to not suck. Final Fantasy XIV gets its 4th expansion pack, Endwalker. If you're interested in that game, you already know about it. I don't need to sell an expansion of Final Fantasy XIV to anyone. You either already have a subscription and you're already playing this, or you're not. There you go. Lost Judgment hits PlayStation, Xbox this week as well. Lost Judgment is the sequel to Judgment. Kind of a weird way to do a sequel title, but Judgment is a kind of a spin-off franchise of Yakuza. I don't actually know if it's in the exact same universe, but it feels like it is.
It is absolutely in the same universe.
Perfect. So you are a lawyer turned street fighting detective, Takayuki Yagami. Joined by his ex-Yakuza partner, the crime fighting duo is called on to investigate a seemingly perfect crime whose lead suspect has an airtight alibi. What starts as a tale of revenge reveals a tangled web of conspiracy involving several unlikely factions taking advantage of a broken law system. But as victims pile up and Yagami unravels the truth, he must choose between defending the law or exacting justice. Judgment, by the way, super fun video game. Kind of like the Yakuzas. They're difficult to get into. They can feel a little...
They're very Japanese.
Yeah, they can feel a little dated in that they're kind of mid-2000s action games. But if you like kicking people into space, get down on some of this stuff.
Right. I am slowly making my way through the Yakuza games. I started up 0. I'm still playing through it. They are what they are. Yeah. It is. Just don't take it too serious.
Prepare for a dramatic break going from 0 to Kiwami, because remember that 1, 2, 3 are remasters of literal early 2000s video games.
Yeah,
from the PS2.
I am expecting that. I'm absolutely expecting that.
So you'll have kind of a weird quality jump, and then it'll get better, and then by the time you get to 6, you'll be back.
David?
Yes.
That does it for new releases, which means that also does it for the show as well. This has been GamePoints episode 280, and thank you all for showing up. If you like what you saw here and want to support the stream, you know what to do. Likes, follows, bits, subs. There's Discord you can join. You can follow the show at GamePoints PC on the Twitters. Myself, Stephen Brown at CapitalistPig21, and David there at _Satori. There will be regular game streaming on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays here at Twitch TV/GamePoints as well, if you want to come on by and see whatever I'm playing at that time. But until next week, here at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will something. It's late. I've lost my train of thought.
We'll catch you later. Thanks for coming out.
Take care. We'll catch you later. See you next time.